Now, a rocket has blasted off from Cape Canaveral in Florida, carrying the first American spacecraft to attempt a moon landing for half a century. If all goes well, the Peregrine 1 robot, developed by Astrobotic, would be the first ever soft lunar landing by a private company. It was launched in cooperation with NASA, and it's the first of 6 commercial robot lander missions planned for this year, in which NASA will in effect, be a passenger studying the moon's surface. Joining me now is the planetary scientist, Dr. Hannah Sargent from Leicester University, a former alumni of mine as well. Lovely to have you on the programme. First off, just how significant is a lunar landing? Because I believe the Chinese tried something, was it the Japanese, a similar landing?
Yeah, there's actually been a few different attempts. So iSpace last year, which is a private company, attempted a lunar mission, landed on the moon. They did land, but at such a speed that they didn't softly land. So hopefully, excuse me, this will be the first successful soft landing of a commercial lander. Okay.
Commercialising space. Now, there has been most of the financial side, the economic activity has been driven in what's called space for Earth economy, I believe. So, you know, you develop it on Earth and then send it out to space. What about space for space economy? Is it viable?
Yes, absolutely. So there's been a lot of interest in commercializing space for a number of decades now. It is not really that economical for space agencies like NASA and the European Space Agency to fund everything from the rocket to the lander, and everything else that's involved. Instead, they can simply pay for a ticket for a ride to their destination to then really invest in their science activities. And that is now opening up a number of opportunities for many players in the space economy to really maximise the opportunities of all of that supply chain.
Now, NASA started research into the commercialisation of space back in the 1970s. Up until now, it's more or less remained a dream. Will the real economic driver come from things like mining the moon's surface or asteroids?
So there is definitely a big aspect of commercialising space, which is the resources that are potentially available there. For example, water is a huge resource of interest, and there's water on the moon, and that can be converted into rocket propellant, and that's really where a lot of the commercial industry are getting involved. But simply transportation as something to sell to a space agency, or power supplies, there's many different aspects that can be commercialized, but there really needs to be a lot of policy development and regulation that kind of needs to catch up to really make sure that we do this in a sustainable manner.
I think we've already recognised that there could be issues of monopolisation and overcrowding of the space, so to speak. And like you say, it's also the ethical questions, because sustainability has to be considered throughout now. It's not something that organisations can ignore, even in space.
Absolutely. And up until more recently, the space domain has really been dominated by the scientists, and we really have very much, you know, ethical goals and ways of operating. So now it's trying to make sure that these new actors that are joining us in the space domain, that they can kind of tread the line and try not to dominate that space as well.
Dr. Hannah Sargent, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.